Get vaccinated. India, all people above 45 are eligible from tomorrow. Meanwhile, as Mumbai cases soar, a worry over growing vaccine hesitancy as a Mumbai survey shows that 33% in slums are hesitant about taking the vaccine. A worrying rise in India deaths, the highest in 3 months. This as millions gather for the Mahakumbh amid a second wave. Do or die, Khela Hobe for Mamta Banerjee. Tomorrow in Nandigram, she's campaigning in Shingu today. Meanwhile, a Mamta outreach to the opposition on the eve of a Nandigram battle. Unite against the BJP, she writes, including to Congress President Sonia Gandhi as they are against each other in West Bengal. A setback for the Karnataka Chief Minister Yediyurappa. The High Court allows an investigation into an alleged role of the Chief Minister in Operation Kamla, which had brought down the JDS Congress government. The Bombay High Court wraps ex-top cop Param Bir Singh. Asked that without FIR, how can there be an investigation, be it the CBI or anyone else? A decision on his plea to transfer the case to the CBI tomorrow. The World Bank predicts a major growth jump for India, doubling India's growth forecast in the next financial year. Meanwhile, markets are down 1% on the last day of the financial year. Record-breaking heat highs across India. Chennai touches a record high of 41.3. That's the highest in the city ever. Meanwhile, a major fire breaks out in Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve. Our lead story tonight, a major breakthrough in vaccine trials for children. The Pfizer BioNTech has issued a press release saying in vaccine trials, the results show that it's 100% safe and effective for 12 to 15-year-olds. Let's just look at what the latest numbers in India is. A worrying rise in deaths, and also, of course, this as India is seeing its biggest religious gathering, the Mahakumbh, to begin officially tomorrow, which comes every 12 years. Vishnu, over to you first for the numbers, and then Akshay, just give us a sense of what's happening there, as I said, at India's largest religious gathering in amid this surging second wave.
Well, let's take a look at the numbers at this stage. And what we actually have over here is a comparison between the 1st of July 2020 and approximately now. And the point is this: there were fewer weekly deaths than the first wave, but it's rising. The rate of rising at 41% is much more than what it was last year. And this is the big concern. The death rate is going up a great deal. Now, if you take a more specific look at this, more states are now reporting a higher number of weekly cases. 2 weeks back, there were 19 states which were in that high state list, but now that's gone up to 22, and the number in the last 1 week, 4.12 lakhs, that's up 40%. So this is really galloping in India. And therefore, we need to also look at India when we look at India compared to other countries in the world. And where is India right now in terms of weekly confirmed cases? We are number 3. It goes between number 2 and number 3, but at the moment, number 3. But as you can see, it's actually going up much more sharply as India than the United States or Brazil. Hopefully, this will change again. But at this stage, it is going up. And therefore, the question is this: vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. We keep talking about that. But how is India doing in terms of vaccination? Now, the overall numbers, as we keep saying, are very impressive. Crores of people have been vaccinated. But in fact, if you look at the percentage of people among those eligible, it's tiny. So here's what we need to look at. What are the number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered per 100 people? Chile way up over there at above 50. The United Kingdom above 50. The United States above 40. India at last count was under 5. And that is a big concern. Is it vaccine hesitancy? Is it because the vaccine has not gotten to enough people? That needs to be fixed. And this is what we are now talking about and being a concern. Think about what we were saying a year ago, that young people aren't really getting COVID. But you know what? Now in the second wave, it is precisely young people who are getting it. In the last 15 days, 28% of those infected by COVID have been in this age group, 18 to 30. 28%, 27.81, followed by those who are 31 to 40 years of age. Now, this is data for Delhi that we are bringing you. But doctors that we've spoken to from Mumbai, leading doctors, are saying the same thing. It's young people who are on their way to hospitals. Sonia?
So, but Vishnu, doesn't mean that senior citizens like you and I should relax our guard.
Absolutely
but I think the big worry, of course, remains the fact that India's people are behaving as if COVID has gone away. And let's go across to Akshay, who's currently at Hardwar. The Mahakumbh officially begins tomorrow. Now, this is amongst the world's largest religious gatherings. This is happening amid the second wave. And Akshay, what's actually happening there right now? Does anyone thinking about COVID, or as the Uttarakhand Chief Minister infamously said before he got COVID, that faith will defeat this pandemic?
Well, Sonia, first of all, the picture will speak what exactly the situation here right now. As you can see, a lot of people are gathered here. Not much of social distancing is being maintained by them. As far as the mask etiquettes are concerned, people are either not wearing it properly or not wearing it at all. Those who are wearing it still are not maintaining social distancing, and that is not just a problem that is here because of the gathering, but because of the management as well, because nobody is actually pointing at their own fault. Ma'am, आप लोग कहाँ से आए हैं?
भरतपुर, राजस्थान।
राजस्थान से आए हैं। मैम, एक चीज़ हम लोग समझना चाहते हैं, यहाँ पर आकर इतनी ज़्यादा यहाँ पर भीड़ है, कोविड का किसी तरह का आप लोगों को डर नहीं है?
नहीं, डर तो है, लेकिन हम खुद भी तो सेफ्टी से चल रहे हैं ना।
सेफ्टी से चल रहे हैं, लेकिन कई सारे लोग जैसे कि मास्क वगैरह नहीं लगा रहे हैं।
हाँ, मास्कों की तो लोगों में हमने देखा है कमी। ये चीज़ तो देखी है हमने कि मास्क के जागरूकता नहीं है।
सर, इस बार का जो कुंभ है काफ़ी डिफरेंट सर्कमस्टांसेस में हो रहा है। आप कहाँ से हैं?
हम पालनपुर, गुजरात से।
गुजरात से आए हैं आप। और गुजरात में तो केसेस भी काफ़ी बढ़ रहे हैं, तो क्या यहाँ पर आप आए, कैसा आपको लग रहा है देखकर?
मुझे तो
किसी तरह का
डर का तो मालूम ही, ये मास्क है इसलिए कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
हाँ।
इसलिए कोई है, और कुछ दिक्कत तो है भी नहीं अभी।
कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी, तो भीड़ से आपको कोई अभी ऐतराज इस वक्त नहीं है?
सरकार ने लगाई, वो कार्यरत चालू है, इसलिए कोई प्रॉब्लम है ही नहीं।
There are many who are not even wearing mask. आप बताइएगा, आपको मास्क आप पहन रहे हैं, क्या डर किसी तरह का? कहाँ से हो? नहीं?
जी सर, डर किसी तरफ का नहीं है।
डर नहीं है?
जी सर।
कहाँ के हैं आप?
हम बिहार से हैं सर।
बिहार से हैं?
जी सर।
तो क्यों डर नहीं है? कोरोना इतना फैल
ये जो है कि सर, सैलून जो एक कंपनी है, जो अपनी कंपनी जो बगल में जो प्रचार कर रही है सर, वो 8 से 10 घंटा अपनी कंपनी प्रचार करते हैं फ्री में से।
As you can see, a lot of people are here. Many are wearing masks, many are not wearing it properly, but some are not wearing it at all. And looking at the camera, many are putting it on now. But certainly what I've observed here is that though many people are trying to be safe, but norms of social distancing and mask etiquettes, appropriate behavior is going for a toss.
Right, Akshay, I mean, stay safe, as we said. I mean, people are, of course, should celebrate their religious faith, but at this time, really, safety is the first precaution. Thanks so much for that update, Akshay, and you and the crew stay safe as well. Meanwhile, moving across to what we were saying, well, India opens up tomorrow as all people above 45 can get vaccinated. But in Mumbai, where cases are touching a high of nearly 6,000 to 7,000 cases daily, the big issue is that especially in Mumbai's slums, people don't want to get vaccinated. That really is a huge issue for the state to tackle.
Mumbai is facing a twin challenge, surging COVID cases but also vaccine hesitancy. According to Mumbai Municipality Survey, about 33% of people in slums are against vaccination, despite scientists, doctors and government assuring them these are safe. 45-year-old Rajesh Kohli, staying in Dharavi, says he won't get the vaccine until he's convinced it is safe.
मैंने खुद ने अब तक वैक्सीन नहीं लिया है। ये सरकार बिल्कुल सही ढंग से बता नहीं रही है लोगों को। एक क्लियर जस्टिफिकेशन होना चाहिए, क्लियर संदेश होना चाहिए जो हमको ये समझाए कि हमको वैक्सीन किस तरीके से लेना चाहिए और उसके बाद में क्या करना चाहिए।
Like Rajesh, Abdul Rashid, a 55-year-old driver, is also worried.
उसमें कई लोगों का इंतकाल हो जा रहा है, कई लोग किसी को साइड इफेक्ट हो रहा है, किसी को तकलीफ हो रही है। हमको जिस दिन लगेगा कि वैक्सीन सक्सेस है, हम जाके ले लेंगे।
Cases in Dharavi are up by 383, nearly 9% in a week. A separate vaccination booth was started 9 days ago, but only 1,100 people have got themselves vaccinated.
लोगों को अभी तक समझ नहीं है वैक्सीनेशन का, कि उनको डर बैठा हुआ है मन में कि वैक्सीनेशन लेने के बाद हमारा कुछ गलत इफेक्ट नहीं हो जाए। तो वही हमारे प्रयास यही है कि उनको समझाए कि भाई वैक्सीनेशन से कोई तकलीफ आएगी नहीं, साइड इफेक्ट्स कम है, इसके कोई साइड इफेक्ट्स नहीं है और वहाँ पे जो जिधर वैक्सीनेशन लेने जाए उधर डॉक्टर्स भी है तो वो भी उनको गाइड करते हैं.
Situation in Mankhurd and Kovandi slums is also similar. An NGO Apnale, which worked with municipality there, says the solution is door-to-door vaccination.
घर घर जाकर वैक्सीन देना, सारे लोगों को वैक्सीन देना और जिसको ज़रूरत होगी, तकलीफ होगी, वो वापस हॉस्पिटल आ सकता है. लेकिन सिर्फ इस डर से लोगों को वैक्सीन घर घर ना जा करके देना, मुझे लगता है कि इस स्ट्रैटेजी की बहुत बड़ी कमजोरी है.
About 55% of city's population lives in high-density slums. The municipality is planning to open separate booths for these areas. They wanted a door-to-door vaccination, but the centre says it hasn't received a specific request.
One of the ways to control the spread of COVID is to vaccinate in a major way. But if there are any apprehensions, those fears need to be addressed as well. In Mumbai with Pooja Bharadwaj and camera person Praveen Ji Rohit, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
Well, that's a major issue for states to tackle. But let's go across. As you said, we talk about religious gatherings, but what about political gatherings? Tomorrow in West Bengal, it's a battle which is symbolic of the whole West Bengal election. The battle for Nandigram, where Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee is a candidate against former aide Suvendu Adhikari. But it's not really about her versus Suvendu Adhikari. It's about her versus the Prime Minister and Home Minister Amit Shah.
Supporters returning from Mamta Banerjee's rally, and on my right and in the stage, these are all BJP supporters shouting Jai Sri Ram. The atmosphere is electric. If it's a good contest between the two parties, but it's also very, very vigorous and ferocious. आपने तो ममता बनर्जी को बेगम बना दिया.
हाँ, बेगम ही तो है. कलमा पढ़ रही है.
गाड़ी गुलो अपने को साइड करे नहीं.
कलमा हिंदू मंत्र स्तोत्र गलत और कलमा सही.
আজকে প্রচার শেষ নন্দীগ্রাম, আমি থাকবো প্রচার শেষে, ঘুরিয়ে নেবেন, মনে রাখবেন ঠান্ডা ঠান্ডা কুল কুল দিদি বলেছে. ওম সর্বমঙ্গল মঙ্গলে শিবে সর্বার্থ সাধিকে সর্বনেত্তম্বকে গৌরী নারায়ণী নমস্তুতে সৃষ্টি স্থিতি বিনাশানাং শক্তি ভূতে সনাতনী গুণশ্রয়ী গুণময়ী নারায়ণী নমস্তুতে শরণাগত দিনার্থ পরিত্রাণ পরায়ণে সর্বস্বার্থী হরে দেবী नारायणी नमस्तुते. बोलो 30 में 30 ही मिलेगा. রসগোল্লা খাবে, রস ছাড়া রসগোল্লা.
প্লাস্টার কাটা হয়ে গেল, ব্যান্ডেজ বাঁধা হয়ে গেছে আর পা তুলে তুলে সবাইকে দেখাচ্ছে. শাড়ি পরে আছেন, একটা পা ঢাকা একটা খোলা, এরকম শাড়ি পরতে দেখিনি. যদি পাটা বার করে রাখবেন, শাড়ি কেন বারমুড়া পরতে পারেন, তাহলে পরিষ্কার দেখা যায়. কত নাটক দেখবো আর.
So as Nandigram votes tomorrow, well, Mamta Banerjee is campaigning first in Shingur today. But right now, Monideepa is standing outside Mamta Banerjee's rented residence in Nandigram. So where is Mamta Banerjee currently, and where's Suvendu Adhikari, Monideepa?
Well, Mamta Banerjee is right now in her home over here, her temporary residence, you can see. Down there where the lights are, this is the compound, this is where the house is, where she is staying. Earlier, down this road, she had hired another flat, but that was on the first floor. This one is on the ground floor, and therefore she has moved into this after her injury to her leg. Atmosphere in Nandigram, very, very tense, edgy. What is interesting, however, even as we speak, right outside Mamta Banerjee's house, you will see her banners and posters and Suvendu Adhikari's as well. There are lotuses over here, the twin flowers of Mamta Banerjee blooming fully over here. You know, it's all very civilized, but what a campaign this has been. Absolutely. For the last month or so in Nandigram. I mean, I have run out of words to describe the...
Yes, in that letter which Mamta Banerjee sent today, interestingly including to the Congress President, asking for larger unity versus the BJP. So she's not making this sort of battle with Suvendu Adhikari, but against the Prime Minister and Home Minister. So she's writing to Sonia Gandhi, even though she's fighting against the Congress and the left in West Bengal.
Yes, indeed, Sonia. You know what Mamta Banerjee is doing is, despite this bitter battle for Bengal that she is fighting, she's also in a way positioning herself as a national leader, well beyond just the Chief Minister of West Bengal, and also perhaps keeping an eye on 2024. Indeed, that letter very significant today.
Right, Monideepa, thanks so much for joining us. But let's go across to what's happening politically in Karnataka, where in a setback for the Chief Minister, B.S. Yediyurappa, the Karnataka High Court has allowed an inquiry into an alleged role played by the Chief Minister into what is known as Operation Kamla. In 2019, the coalition government in the state between the Congress and the Janata Dal Secular collapsed after several MLAs from these two parties switched their loyalties to the BJP. The probes linked to an alleged audio tape where then Mr. Yediyurappa is allegedly heard offering inducements to a JDS MLA's son. He's now filed a complaint that the High Court has agreed to an investigation. So major setback on a day also that a senior BJP minister has actually written to the state governor saying that he's not being allowed to actually function because of B.S. Yediyurappa. So senior BJP minister writing to the governor against the chief minister. So more trouble there. Well, the Bombay High Court today wrapped ex-top cop Param Bir Singh, asking that without an FIR, how is it that the CBI can actually take over the case? That High Court decision is tomorrow. Let's just look at those main details. So the court asking again and again Param Bir Singh's lawyer that why, as an ex-police commissioner, did he not file an FIR to investigate? He also said, do you actually have proof that did the Home Minister allegedly ask for money or inducements in front of you? And was his complaint actually backed up by the ACP who he had named on it? Param Bir Singh's lawyer argued back, citing various reports which had shown that there were inducements apparently for transfers in the state police. The decision is tomorrow. Well, a quick look at other news. The World Bank has revised India's forecast upwards. In fact, it's almost doubled it. Those are the latest figures coming from the World Bank. This, of course, on the day that the market slipped over 1% on the last day of the financial year 21. The Sensex down by almost 627 points, the Nifty down 154 points. Meanwhile, information coming in from the core sectors, the core industry growth, the steepest decline we can see in electricity and power sectors. The index of 8 core industries hitting a 6-month low, down to minus 8.3%. Moving to other news, well, record-breaking heat highs across parts of India, including Chennai. And amid this, major forest fires in Bandhavgarh, that's one of India's biggest tiger reserves. So we can see there fires across spreads of this national park. It affects, of course, the wildlife, Royal Bengal tigers which are in Bandhavgarh, and many other biodiversity there in Bandhavgarh. So work there to put this fire out, but of course, big worry on the damage there. But let's just look at what the latest heat numbers are.
Record-breaking heat being reported in March, unheard of temperatures being recorded in the national capital. The mercury hit 40 degrees in March for the first time in 76 years. In Chennai, the temperature touched new highs at 41.3 degrees, while Baripada in Odisha recorded 44.6 degrees, which hasn't happened before in the month of March. The reason for such high temperatures in the north were attributed to winds coming in from Pakistan and Rajasthan, where the mercury has hit 43 degrees Celsius. Now the temperature has come down by 2 to 3 degrees, with another rise predicted next week when heatwave conditions are expected in the national capital and adjoining areas. For now, heatwave conditions are prevailing in Odisha, in Madhya Pradesh, West Rajasthan, Vidarbha, Jharkhand, coastal Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, as well as Puducherry, along with East Uttar Pradesh and Bihar.